Hey there, neighbors and naysayers. July 7th, 2024. If you can hear the sorrow in my voice, it's because this is a tough day. We have not received any measurable rainfall in several weeks. And today, we had to make the hard decision. And the hard decision was to bring the sheep flock to hay. The cows will be going to hay this afternoon too. The only thing we'll leave out on pasture for now is the grass-fed steers and the wean calves from last year. Although we're going to put them close to the corral, it feels like, and we're probably going to sell off half of the wean calves, which we didn't plan to do. We plan on keeping all of them. But I don't need all of them anyway, really. I can let the business grow a little slower than what I thought and go. This is tough. It's tough, and I guess I got to talk a little bit about what led up to this. So I keep telling myself, am I overstocked? And the answer to that is no. We don't have any more animals today than we have any other summer. We start way back in the winter. We got barely any snow all winter. The rains that we did have came 2, 3, 4 inches at a time. And then it just kept snowballing. April was relatively dry. The last 2 years in a row really have been kind of dry springs. And I know this because we're supposed to build fence, and we haven't built fence for the last 2 years because it's just been too dry to dry fence posts. But this April was especially dry. And then we usually get 2 weeks of rain the first 2 weeks of June. Weatherman said it was going to rain every day, and it didn't rain at all. And along with that, we got 90-degree heat for over a week and just kind of baked everything, just sat here. And it's not that we're out of pasture. I still got 7 days of tall grass to go. And then if I turn around here, this field's had about 30 days of rest. So it's got some grass in it. We're just being proactive instead of reactive. Several years ago, we had a summer like this, and we had enough grass. This is July 7th, so we went to August 7th, I think, somewhere around in there. We said, oh, it'll rain. There's always rain in the forecast, 7 days out. It'll rain. And I knew we got to a tipping point where we needed to do it. But it was hard to talk Dad into it. And we started feeding hay that year in August, and we didn't quit feeding until April. And we just can't do that. At this point, our forage is past the longest day of the year. It's not going to head out. The grass and fescue and that is not going to head out. What's headed is already headed, and it's not going to make a head. It's going to go into survival mode for the winter and just keep enough forage here to have photosynthesis still take place. So it's not going to go to head now. So any grass that we grow while these sheep and cows are on hay, we're going to harvest it. We're going to get it eventually. So better to leave this residue and let it recover and hopefully get some grazing. I mean, I'm hoping August 7th we'll be turning back out, but I don't know that. We got this Hurricane Beryl coming our way. Hopefully it comes. Then maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and we could start thinking about turning things back out again. If it doesn't, what growth we have will at least have kept the grass-fed steers on grass. And we'll just keep selling down until it matches whatever our hay supply is going to be for the winter. That's all we can do. We are in a little microclimate here, and it has been the last 4, 5, 6 years. I don't know what is to the west of us that splits the clouds, but something is directly to the west. And as long as our weather comes from, and I can sound like a conspiracy theorist here if you want to, I don't care. I'm just telling you, something to the west splits the rain and it goes south and north of us every single time. I blame it on just directly to the west of us are 2 whole townships that are completely undermined for coal. And if you've ever been around those places that were strip mined, they're exponentially hotter than anywhere else that you've ever been. Like I can go to a native farm and a reclaim farm in the same day, and I can tell you by the heat that the reclaim farm is hotter for some reason. And I think it really just burns up the rain before it gets here as it comes. I got a bunch of other theories on what might cause it, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just what it is, and we need to think more on, one, we're always putting organic matter down, and by overgrazing this, we'd be burning up organic matter, and we don't want to do that. We also need to be thinking about some crabgrass, sorghum sedans, as annuals, and some more warm season grasses. I know that I'll catch hell for saying this, but what I'd give for a field of Johnson grass. We don't have it here, and so I'm not going to have it here, and it's illegal to plant it, but what I wouldn't give for a field of Johnson grass, just to graze through the winter, or through the summer, through these hot periods. So it's a tough day. It's a tough day to stand around and look at this crispy, dried up pasture and say, oh, we can give it one more go. We can give it one more go. But no, it just doesn't make any sense. It's not right. And what's really terrible is that sheep flock eats 10% of our grass a day. The cow herd eats 50%. The steers 20 and 20, depending on the different size of the groups. So this sheep flock being locked up isn't going to make all that much difference. But what difference it does make is I can't get step in posts in the ground. It's too dry. I'm to the point where I'm about to drill holes to put step ins in, and just keeping them in is going to become a real challenge here in the next month ish. I'm just better off to feed them hay once a week, leave them here until we get back to where we can rotate them. And it's going to coincide a little bit, and this has no bearing on what I'm doing anyway, but it's going to coincide a little bit on, Ethan needs to go to state fair last week in July. He needs to go to the county fair in August, and if these guys are here and I'm not worried about them getting out, then I can have a whole lot better time while I'm at it too. So I hope I covered everything that I needed to. I know this is a long one, but the bottom line here is we're saving ourselves for later. What grass is growing here is going to continue to grow. If we go ahead and graze it off, then it's going to get harder and harder for it to recover once it starts raining again. So we need to do this. We need to bring them in and put them up and feed some hay, and all my knowledge, everything I've ever read and said is don't try to feed your way out of drought. I'm not trying to feed my way out of drought. I've got 160 bales of last year's hay left over that's not going to be much good come this winter anyway. When it starts raining again, we're going to feed that. When we run out of that, then we got to make hard decisions. And we're going to do everything we can. As soon as I get all this done, I got to sit down and do the math. How long is that 160 bales going to take me? Once I figure that out, then I know how many animals I got to get rid of. We can look at getting rid of older ewes. We can get rid of the lambs. We can do a lot of other things to save ourselves the trouble. We know we're going to bale 400 bales of hay. We know what that will get us through the winter. We'll have to work on balancing our forage here at this point and figure out somewhere how deep we can cut and how good we can get. The hard part here for me too is our cows are just calving now. The bull was lame last year, didn't get cows bred until late. I know that sounds terrible, but I'm not all that worried about it because we usually start calving about May 15th, and we typically calve into July and August anyway. So, and all of our cows are bred and coming like real soon. So they're all going to come within our window anyway, it appears. So we're going to be fine. And it's going to be hard to get cows rebred if they have to stay on hay very long. But it is what it is, and it's what we have to do. I don't know whether my dad's speaking to me at this point, because this is it's a tough decision. It's a tough day for all of us, and but there's just nothing we can do. What's worse is I got a rented farm standing there that doesn't have fence built on it because the weather hadn't been conducive to build fence, where we could go over there and that would save us some, but we just can't get there right now. So we're going to do what we got to do. This is what we would do if we didn't have the rented farm, and this is what we're going to do. On top of that, we also have water concerns at this point. This farm runs off a well, and the well has kind of conked out twice this last week. we need to get this group separated from the other group so we can hook them to a hydrant all the time. That will help on water. And really the group of calves are going to go on the south side of the river where we got plenty of water for the next couple weeks, and hope Hurricane Beryl gets here and we're good. I mean, this is what we're going to do. We just got to lower our numbers, and it doesn't mean that we're overstocked to me, because if I stocked for this, I mean, the last time we did this was in 2018. So if we stocked for this weather, most years we'd have way too much. So I can't do that. We just have to know when these times come, it's hard decision time. We need to make a decision and do it. So that's what we're doing. It's live to fight another day. It's punt and live to fight another day. It's allow the forage to rest and regrow so that we can have something later in the fall, versus grazing it all down to nothing, maybe get to August and then feed hay for the entirety of the winter, fall and winter, and nobody wants that. So hope I explained myself well enough. I hope that none of you are in this same situation, but it is what it is, and there's just decisions we need to make. There's, I guess, tough times make tough people, and this is one of those times when we decide that we need to do things a little bit differently and change up a little bit of what we do, and some more warm seasons of some kind would sure help out this situation. With that, I'll say we'll see you next time.